Welcome back to DadKennyGaming, where today we are going to be talking about this Crucible, the new one, versus the old one. There are definitely some massive differences, some good, and I think some not so good. So hopefully we will see some continued iterations, some continued updates on the Crucible and what this could be for an in-game component of this game. One, this game is awesome. I think it is super cool. The story element, I can't wait to see that develop and grow. It already seems like such a lush and vibrant world with very unique enemies and creatures and characters, and I cannot wait to explore and find out more about that. And then on top of that, I think the in-game component is just gonna grow and change and be amazing when it comes out full release. So far, the Crucible, I think, has improved, but I do think we took a few steps backwards. And maybe on the next update, we will see some growth um, in that. So let's get into it. One of the big changes that they did to the new Crucible is they added in echoes. Echoes are a resource that you gather when you kill an enemy. They drop a bunch of shiny globes, which are fun to pick up. And then at any point during the run, which is kind of a cool component, it's not at the end of a run, not end of a run, sorry. It's not at the end of a map, we'll call it a section. Do you get to use this resource on upgrading yourself or changing the environment or the enemies? You can use this at any point during the map, which I haven't seen in a roguelike game before, and I think that's a really cool mechanic. So you get these globes, echoes, and then you can purchase something to modify, your run for that time. Really cool. I like it. That change, I think, drastically improves the enjoyment and the variety of each run on top of obviously your build, which maybe at some point you can, swap out some weapons, change your stats maybe, and then go in with a different build completely. And then your echo purchases will change that even more. So really cool component, really amazing change. And I hope they add on to that as they continue to develop. One of the things that is, in my opinion, needed with this change, and I feel like they're going to add it at some point, is the information, the accumulative information all in one screen of the stats that you get, the buffs and the debuffs that you pick throughout your run. So you can see instead of doing all the math, which I'm sure you can. But if things stack, if things don't stack, you can see all the information in one place. A lot of other roguelites, Hades, for example, you can go to your like start screen or whatever, and then you'll see all the boons you've picked up. You'll see all the stat percentages that each of these boons are adding to your player and the damage and the debuffs and all that stuff. So I think adding in a screen like that for this game will be very, very beneficial. One change that I enjoy is they took away the embers that you needed to use to get into the Crucible. So they made it just free, I guess. So I really like that change. Um, they do continue to have that resource as a currency for respecking, which I don't think is an issue. I don't think having a currency to respec is an issue. I mean, a lot of games have it be gold or whatever the currency is, as the money, quote unquote. So I do think having some sort of currency for respecking is probably needed. But right now, I mean, I don't have a lot of these embers to then respec into something else if I want to play a different build, use a different weapon. I mean, I'm enjoying my kind of sword and board playthrough I have this entire time, but I'm like, I want to play a different, I want to use a different weapon. I want to maybe be a mage. And then, upgrade and get mage weapons, a staff and all that stuff. Or I want to go twin blades and use a dagger. And part of me is like, okay, I could start a new character and do a whole new run, which generally I do like to do that. But again, if we're talking about the Crucible and wanting to change and modify and do different builds within the Crucible as an in-game component, I feel like being able to respec at a relatively easy way um, would benefit the runs and benefit that experience a whole lot more. So if you are going to have the embers be the currency, maybe when you go into the overworld, as I'm calling it, those are a lot more, a whole lot easier to then respec. Now, maybe they don't want to change that and they want to keep that difficult to find. Then maybe let's change the respec currency to gold. Um, so I don't know, something for them to think about possibly. Again, I think it's healthy to have currency related to respecking. But yeah, maybe change the ember spawn rate if you're going to do that, or change it to something different. So that would be something to maybe see them change in the future moving forward. Now, let's move on to a complaint that this iteration has um, it just doesn't do very well compared to the first iteration, honestly. And that is rewarding gameplay. No, not gameplay, because the gameplay is rewarding. A rewarding experience when you get to the end. Now, obviously, if you've followed kind of my progression, I have yet to beat the Yucca. He is the bane of my existence in this game. I just cannot seem to beat him. And maybe I'm a little bit pounding my head against the wall with this build, and I haven't spent time in the overworld getting resources to see if I can't get more armor and all that stuff, because I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I just want to grind, because I can get to him pretty easily. That's the thing. I think I can get to him relatively easy. Just fighting him has been difficult. I think they also upped his health in this iteration, the new Crucible. Anyways, old iteration, you would go through, you'd kill enemies, you would get things. You would pick up gear, you would pick up items, you'd pick up flasks, like anything that you would pick up in the overworld, you would pick up in this Crucible. So there was some still value to going through and then getting dominated by the Echo Knight, which is what I was doing. It was happening to me. But I would be like, shoot, I lost. That was a bummer. But hey, at least I got all this gear that I can go sell or maybe use if the gear was good enough. If it wasn't, then again, I sell it. On top of that, I would have money then to go buy more healing stuff, because that's what I found most effective. Is I would go over to my jolly old baker and just buy more healing stuff that was moderately good instead of crafting more. So that's what I felt like was valuable in the old one, is you were gaining things that you could at least sell or possibly use, even if you were defeated in the very end. Now, the problem that I see with this new Crucible is they took out gear drops and resource drops. The only resources you get are the echoes and then the green goops. I don't know what they're called. Should look it up. Sorry about that. Now, with the green groups, you can unlock selling. But again, I don't with the guy in the middle. But if you're not gaining gear, unless that activates gear being dropped, which seems like a weird concept to me. I haven't gotten that far. And so if I'm wrong in that, I will update the video after posting it. But as of right now, even if you do get that later on, even right now, the runs that you're doing just don't feel very rewarding if you get to the Econite and you die. Like, you gain nothing. You actually just lose things. because you're losing on health resources that then you'd have to go buy or farm to make more, and you're losing on gold um, to heal your equipment that are taking damage throughout doing these runs. So outside of getting to the end and defeating the Econite, which I'm not able to do, like, I'm still having a fun time because I'm just like, this is fun. It's a challenge, but yeah, when you look at it as, is the run rewarding no matter what? They really dropped the ball on this new one because unless you defeat them, it's a lose-lose situation. And I can see how that would be very frustrating and very just difficult to keep going. You're at max level in the early access. You don't really want to do the overworld because you're not getting, I mean, outside of just resource farming, which is like, you know, what are you going to do? You're just going to lose resources. So hopefully on their next iteration, they add in a rewarding concept, um, some sort of bring back items or bring back, add a new resource that adds a more permanent stat buff, maybe. Um, you can upgrade your gear somehow. I don't know. Some sort of thing that makes, um, if you lose on a run, it's still rewarding. I think that's the biggest miss right now that they need to change. Outside of that, I think it's a great experience. I think it's a really fun change. I've been enjoying it again. So we'll see what they continue to do with the updates here. So far, this game is incredible, and I cannot wait to continue to play it when they have new updates and on a full release. So this was kind of a fun little video I wanted to put together talking about some of those changes, and you know, hopefully you guys find that informative, and we'll see you in the next video. If you guys are liking the content we're putting out, then yeah, throw a like on the video, hit that sub button, and comment down below. Comment down if you are liking the Elden Ring content. I'm still going to be putting that out, but maybe I can slow that down and put, you know, No Rest for the Wicked back in the main slot of trying to do daily. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious on what y'all's feedback is, and looking forward to hearing from it. Thank you. See you next time.